Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. After all the recent weapon nerfs in Season 5, people keep asking me, what about the Kilo? So what about the Kilo? In my opinion, the gun is hot trash, but there are a lot of people who swear on the Kilo to be the absolute next level. It's better than the Grout, it's better than the Bruen, it's the best gun in the whole frigging game. Obviously, it's down to personal preferences. One thing for reality I have to put down up front is the Kilo is completely different on mouse and keyboard and controller. Only people that actually played both devices will understand that some guns just completely behave different on the respective device. So the Kilo on the controller is a way better beamer if you're good with the controller than it is on PC. The recoil just feels completely different. But that aside, let's look at the Kilo. Let's look at the damage it does. Let's look at the recoil, the handling, everything. Let's see which attachments you need to use to counter the base recoil. So we're going to be trying to understand the gun, to bring the gun close to you, to maybe make the Kilo your new favorite gun, and then draw a verdict. I'll stay with hot trash. Others stay with the Kilo. I love it. Let's dig into the numbers first. So we have a fire rate of 751 RPM. That's pretty good. Quite decent fast. The headshot damage is 42, chest 28, 28, 28. Quite lower than the LMGs, but still decent up to 30 meters. What is it after 30 meters though? What happens there? The damage falls quite heavily off. So 30 to 54 meters, this is pretty much like, this is the range, 30, like 0 to 54 meters, where you're mostly going to be using the Kilo. And then after that, if you have someone running in the distance, don't even try. We call the Kilo a pea shooter for a reason. And as you can see here on the distance, chest, stomach, extremities. Yes, sure, you can hit a headshot, but even then it's chalk. But you do 18 damage per hit. So a person with 3 plates on that distance has 250 HP. Well, you will quite have to hit the one or the other button. The Kilo's time to kill, including the percentage of the ADS time, because we got to look at the ADS time of the Kilo too, even though again for the long range shots this doesn't really matter that much because you're mostly going to be ADS'd in before you actually shoot. So this is something you can neglect every now and then to see, no, we don't need the ADS time. We include the bullet travel to target because obviously the maximum bullet velocity matters with all the attachments, and the bullet velocity here is actually 1,300 meters per second, which is extremely fast. So the Kilo has really fast hitting bullets that straight up get on target, and that's extremely good on the Kilo, I have to say. These bullets are actually faster than HDR bullets. So if we're looking at the time to kill here, the standard time to kill with bullet travel time to target, we're going to be hovering around 600 milliseconds. And it goes obviously, as we see, after this magical 50 meter range, the gun just falls off so heavily. I mean, the time to kill gets so high. So this is like the magical point. After that, you can forget the gun because you go down to 1,000 milliseconds of time to kill, despite obviously being able to hit your shots, but your shots don't deal damage at all. Again, that's what you have on 54 meters. That's the damage you get going on, and that's your problem here on out with the Kilo. But before, on this range, yes, the Kilo, it can definitely fry, but also there are other guns that fry harder. An example, the Bruen or the PKM. Funny story. After the PKM... Funny story. After the Bruen nerf, the Bruen is way closer to the Kilo than it ever was before. But obviously the Bruen here in Perbs still has the range advantage to actually have a better time to kill on decent ranges. The most fun part though is, look at the PKM. The PKM has always been an insane gun, but right now the PKM just does per bullet an absolute insane damage. I mean, look at the PKM here. We have the Bruen with chest 31 and the PKM with 34 damage on a chest. And especially we go for 39 meters plus, the PKM does 30 plus damage on a chest shot. Where the Bruen and the Kilo do 22 and 18 damage. It's 8 and 12 more damage per hit plus an insane headshot. That's absolutely crazy. When we just look for the headshot damage here, it funnily negates in. Why though? because realistically, the Kilo has a really nice headshot multiplier, whereas the PKM just does insane headshot damage without having a crazy... Okay, let's be fair, if the PKM had a crazy headshot multiplier, that would be mental here. So the big advantage of the Kilo is to, you know, I'm a Kilo hater, but to talk about the Kilo is, yes, your time to kill is ass. Yes, your damage is ass too. Yes, your damage on distance is ass. But if you then hit one of those sweet headshots in the mid-ranges, where the gun really brilliates at, that's where your time to kill just drops completely down. That's where you're just hurting people. Hurting people big time. Then obviously you fall off over distance again. So up to 30 meters, you're the absolute fryer. If someone walks up to you at the end of a building, like from building to building, you're going to be crazy. But in the end of medium to longer ranges, no, Kilo. What we're going to do now is step number 1. We're going to take the Kilo, we're going to spray at the wall, 60 bullets, no recoil control, nothing, 0 attachments apart from the ammunition. See what do we have to expect for recoil, which attachments do we then need to counter that recoil, and how's the gun behavior then afterwards. So we're going to let the gun completely go, 60 bullets straight into the wall. And then we're going to reload, and we're obviously going to try to control it just to see where are the problems with the gun. And if we walk up closely now, we can see the gun does actually not have that much of a recoil by nature. The gun's recoil is quite fine. It pulls a little bit off to the left, especially on distance, it's going to be more. And it has some vert recoil, especially without any attachments. The most important part here is, despite holding the gun absolutely straight, you can see that there is some horizontal wobble going on. And this horizontal wobble, when the gun does this, is yelling for commando foregrip. So we need something to counter vert recoil by nature and something to... Let's look at the build. What would the Kilo build look like to counter that recoil pattern? So first and foremost, what we saw there is a definite need of the commando foregrip, because the biggest problem is you can't control the horizontal left and right bouncy. And the commando foregrip is the only gun that gives you the horizontal control. You also get some vertical, so that's perfect. So we go for the commando, that's a must. We go for a 60 round mag because you want to have that. You could go for the 100 round mag, but you lose ADS speed, you lose movement speed, you overall make the gun handling slower. But that is pretty much personal preference because you actually don't get any recoil or anything. So it's just like, if you think you want to have the 100 round mag, you're absolutely fine to go for it. Then you want to take the Prowler barrel because optimal damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. And as we told you, the bullet velocity of the Kilo is insane, and it's pretty much faster than the HDR's bullet velocity, who's known to be the no drop sniper, pretty much. Then we're going to put on the monolithic suppressor to add even more range and bullet velocity plus the sound suppression. And then last but not least, I do believe personally that the VKL optic is the most optimal scope on the gun, but I have seen people use the 4.0 flip hybrid. I've seen people use the integral hybrid. There is the opportunity to use the thermal optic, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I really do like the VLK more. And I do think a lot of people actually have also been using the canted hybrid to be able to also use the Kilo kind of inside buildings, outside buildings, closer range up, and especially together with the sniper. But my personal preference is and stays the VLK optic on the gun. Now we have the Kilo as we equipped it. We're going to do the same again. We're going to shoot the 60 bullets just straight up in there, see what's going to be happening, and then we're going to try to control the 60 bullets straight up on one spot, just holding it and going there. And as we can see here, perfectly what we said attachment wise, the horizontal wobble, the left and right, boop, 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 is gone. It's super clustered now. The gun pulls slightly off to the left, so you have a start where it goes a bit up, then it pulls to the left, and then later it pulls up again. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to drag the gun a bit down to the right, a bit down to the right, and a bit down in general to get a more clustered pattern. As you can see, most shots are centered here, but you really feel the left drift off. So when you're actively trying to control, you're going to be pulling to the right and you're going to be pulling down. Also, what you obviously have to consider, if you know you're pulling to the left, that while you're shooting, you want to walk to the right. You don't want to walk to the left while you're shooting if you're moving. Because if you start walking to the left, you only enhance your recoil already. Because you're going to pull off to the left and walk to the left, or you're going to put pulling to the right and walking to the right. So you're naturally going to already fight the recoil there. And that's the most important part. Just really over enhance it, pull there, pull down, get it there. And as you can see also with the tracking now perfectly, every shot is in line. There's no shot really breaking out. So right now with the build, the Kilo is a laser. The Kilo is doing out. So what will be the final verdict on the Kilo now? What did we learn? There's more or less no recoil on the gun. Yes, you have the horizontal wobble, but you can discount for it with the command of foregrip. The pull isn't really there, so the gun is relatively easy to control. And as I said, on controller, it's a killer beamer. The most important part about the Kilo is to learn when to shoot, on which distance, and what result to expect. So if you start shooting on a 60-meter distance, 70-meter distance, and you're fighting against a Bruen or a PKM, you're going to die. Doesn't matter how accurate you are. If you get first shot off, maybe you have a chance, but potentially if you look at each other, same time, zoom in, start shooting, the guns just out damage you. So for an ego challenge on that distance, you might want to reconsider. But if you especially, let's say, fight around Superstore, if you fight around the airfield is always my perfect example because you have this airplane to airplane, you have the building down into the airfield, you have from hangar to hangar. These distances is where the Kilo really brilliates in. So if you're playing that gun, you want to move into parts of the map where there's not so much open field. Because yes, your gun choice also dictates where you're going to rotate in, where you're going to play in. So you're not going to play around military base. You're not going to play around quarry up there where all the open ground is, where you cross behind, and big fields where snipers are left and right. Because try to beam a sniper on 100 meters plus, you're not going to have success with this gun. But with an LMG, you would have more success. Therefore, you're going to fight around downtown. You want to fight around airport. You want to hangars, superstore, parking lot, storage town. All these, that's where the Kilo is home. That's where you want to rotate at if the map allows you this. And if you notice you're going to go for a super open field ending, you might actually want to pick up a different gun. But you want to adapt your gun to what the map gives you and what the field of play opens up for you. So if you're a person that really enjoys these stadium too, again, downtown, hangars, that area, hospital, if you enjoy fighting around there, the Kilo is your weapon of choice for these distances. You're going to be melting people. Obviously, you're not going to try to shoot someone from downtown rooftop to downtown rooftop, but what you're going to try is you're going to shoot them down in the streets there, or you're going to push their buildings and get them down. So all in all, the Kilo is a very important gun to learn when to shoot it, where, how to use it, on which distance. And if you figure that out, the Kilo is going to be an absolute insane gun for you to enjoy and for you to have fun with. If you get that down, if you get that nailed, if you make that clear to your team, like I can't fight this open field battle, I need to push up, yeah, then you're good to go. Then I think the Kilo will be your gun. Tell me what your experience is with the Kilo. If you agree or disagree, if you do think this is complete bullshit, what I'm saying, would be definitely nice to hear from you. What you do think about the Kilo, what your experiences are. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you're enjoying the Warzone educational content. Also, the new editing style we put down with a more hypey video, which is being done by our editor, Ray, who's going to be helping me, especially with a second child coming, to keep the content flowing, to not have to stop uploading for you people. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Watch live from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. CET German times on Twitch TV Ponyhof, and see you soon in the Warzone.